What's up? I'm Monica Strutt from the Last Martyr, and we are releasing a brand new single called Brain Rot. And
Yeah,
you're with Heavy.
you are, and I'm with Monica. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So before we get into the serious stuff of the actual music, mate, I just want to say on behalf of the Heavy team, a massive congratulations for taking out the Women in Heavy Music Awards at the recent AWMAs in Brisbane, mate. Well deserved. Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm still on a high. And the coolest thing is, I have like a physical trophy. I've not got a physical trophy for anything since
Wow.
primary school, and it was probably a participation trophy. So this feels really special.
There she did. You obviously knew you had a fair chance of winning given the finalists have been cut back to three, but what was going through your head, firstly when they were publicly announcing the nominees, and then when your name was read out as winner? What was your first thoughts?
Well, I distinctly remember getting the email because they basically email you and tell you that you've made it as a finalist, and you don't know who the other finalists are until it's publicly announced. But I believe they emailed me the day before, and then they announced the finalists on the next day. And it's cool because I mean everyone in the heavy scene kind of knows each other. So I mean I definitely knew one of the finalists, Chrissy, who does amazing work in film, and just looking back on the past kind of like nominees and winners, you kind of think, oh my gosh, like I'm one of them. Like I'm part of the crew. So yeah, I feel very honored.
Full disclosure here, I actually knew the day before that you'd won because they sent me the list of winners. And do you know how hard it was for me not to tell you? It's like, she's my mate, I've got to tell her. But it's like, yeah, every time I looked at you, I'm just like, shut up.
Oh my God. Well, you did very well to keep that secret because I would have like definitely spilt that if it was me. I would have had like had like a drink and been like, by the way.
Give me that microphone.
Well, you could have told me, Chris. I would have been better prepared with my speech.
I'm so sorry. See, I'm damned if I do, damned if I
Yeah,
don't.
that's right.
But special mention must go to the other two nominees as well. There's Leah Martin Brown and Chrissy McClure, who both would have been deserving winners. But as they say, mate, there can only be one, and I'm glad it was you.
Oh, that means so much. Yeah, Leah actually released her first album at the time that we're speaking. So I've actually spent the day just listening to that, and yeah, it's been cool to connect with she's LA based, but it's been cool to connect with another fellow heavy music, creator.
And you received the award for all the work that you do and have done within the Australian heavy scene, both in the public spotlight and behind the scenes. But what does actually winning and being acknowledged by your peers mean to you personally?
Oh, um, I think it's just one of those milestones that is so rare, especially in the music industry and as a woman and in Australia. Like there's obviously like the arias, but you really have to be so on top of your game to win an aria, and it's kind of like only the one percenters win. I don't know, not to diminish the Ormers or anything, but we don't have like many
No.
awards like this in Australia, and there's something really special about even just being invited to the ceremony, and there was a conference the day before, and the fact that it was a formal event that was televised on SBS, like this is just it's legit. So it feels, especially like I don't know, people watching this might relate, but you kind of sometimes like kick a goal in this industry and you're like, well, on to the next. Well, that's great. Like I'm really glad that I kicked that goal. Okay, what's next? What's next? Whereas this is like because of the magnitude of it, it really was one of those rare opportunities where I could kind of sit and really trying to like take in the moment and absorb it and not just be on to the next, but really just appreciate how far I've come. And it's of course just absolutely, I've been so overwhelmed with the support and kind words. I like couldn't keep up with all the messages and comments and everything like that. It really just was just something else. So I'll always remember this.
Yeah, fun. Of course, it takes more than one person to build an empire, and it's due to the efforts of everyone from the young girl picking up the guitar for the first time to seasoned musicians still playing original music at the local pub every weekend to actually make change. So, in effect, this award's for all those people out there who might not get public acclamation, but they're still a valuable part of the Australian music industry.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I wanted to say in my speech was just how important visibility is. And I talked about the fact that I didn't have any any girls that I could look up to. You know, when I started going to gigs, like all ages shows in high school, we were like jumping around in the pit, me and my girlfriends, but we never saw anyone on stage that looked like us. But there's been a few pivotal moments where that, even though I'm stubborn and I wanted to do music, even though I didn't have like that many role models, there's still been some really pivotal moments in my life and career where I've seen another woman like do something really cool, and I think, oh, if she can do it, I can do it. And that's happened like before I started learning to scream. Like I discovered the Butcher Babies, and even though they don't play music that's similar to mine, just seeing like other women kind of like look the way that they look and be super hyper feminine, but also do these like brutal screams and have such an energetic show. Like I'd never really seen that until that band. And then even since just, you know, now that we're kind of in the TikTok era, as much as you can kind of talk shit on it, I'm exposed to all these like amazing women around the world who are doing their own brand of heavy music and not really um, feeling the need to conform to what the boys are doing, which is kind of always what I felt like I had to do. And so, yeah, we've just got so much more visibility now, and it's only a good thing.
That's really well said, actually, because until you said that, I didn't even think about this. But like the way my girls look up to Emmy, and every time she comes to town, they want to go and see her. Like you wouldn't have had that growing up because it wasn't as prevalent. But the way they look up to her, it gives you incentive and hope for the future.
Yeah, it's really important because you don't realize that you can do something, or you don't feel confident that you can do something unless someone kind of paves the way before you, at least to some degree. It doesn't have to be, you know, exactly the same, but yeah, it's super important. And whenever I see like, especially like young girls in the audience, like whenever we played all ages shows or something like that, that's always kind of extra special for me.
Yeah, fine. This is actually the third year that heavy music's been recognised at the awards. Like Emmy won it the first year, Tiana won it the second year, you won it this year. Like, be honest, in the last 12 months, have you girls ever, because you're good mates, you've ever been standing around and they've sort of gone, we got an award, you haven't. And you know, now you can sort of say, well, yes, I have.
Yeah, I feel like a very special part of the club. But I mean, those girls deserve that award so much. And I just think like Emmy was the best person to win it the first year. And Tiana, I've always looked up to Tiana, and she's had a really successful career as a publicist and as a music journalist herself, owning her own platform and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's just really sick that I get to kind of again just like be part of that little club, and yeah, it's something that we all share.
I think the one biggest thing in common out of all you three that I can pick up on is that you're all very humble, you know, and you like to give back to the scene that you're in. And it's like you couldn't get any better winners than that, than people who actually want to share the experience with people.
Ah, well, thanks. It's so funny. My bandmates keep like teasing me, and they keep calling me like award-winning artist Monica Strutt. I'm just like, shut
Monica
up.
Struts.
But no, of course they're proud of me. But yeah, it's so funny. I now keep saying it back to them as a joke. We're in the studio, and I was like, award-winning artist Monica Strutt doesn't agree with that arrangement of this song. We need to change it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Actually, speaking of bands, like this is out of left field, but for the three of you girls that have won it last year, like if part of a winning was you had to put a band together with the winners, what would you three call yourselves as a metal band?
Oh, do you know what I think that the three of us have in common? I think that we are all like just fiends for some 80s rock. I feel like I don't know this about Tiana, but I feel like she vibed like the 80s rock, but it's definitely something that Emmy and I have bonded over. And I always had this like idea in my head of if I was going to start like an all girl 80s rock band, it would be called Leopard Candy. And so I think the three of us would start a band called Leopard Candy, and it would just be like an 80s glam rock band and be like super cheesy and just awesome.
Imagine a band with your vocals and Emmys together, though. Like you have to sing one song and you'd be famous.
I
It'd
think
be a great mix.
I think the world's not ready for that.
You let us know when you are. Well, enough about you just by yourself, too, mate. Like, congratulations. But let's move on because you've got a whole band as well called The Last Martyr, and you're releasing your first new music in 12 months tomorrow. with a new single, Brain Rot. So tell us more about the track.
Yeah, so this is the first track that we've released in a year. We had a EP Requiem come out around this time, 2024, and I feel like this track is really the next evolution in our songwriting. I mean, thematically, it's kind of about the fact that we're so bombarded by media, and you're kind of expected on social media to have an opinion on absolutely everything. Um, and it kind of rots your brain. Like human brains aren't meant to have this much exposure to the opinions of every single person in the world, and everyone has an opinion online. So it's kind of about, first of all, like steering clear of like the news, because the news is like fear mongering and they always focus on the negative. Secondly, it's kind of this double edged sword, because even if you ignore the news, a lot of us use like social media to kind of like, you know, uh, detach from the day and to kind of like tune out of our day and everything. But then, of course, we're still exposed to the opinions of everything online. So it's kind of like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And it's about like how the media kind of like rots our brains, but also like kind of wanting to disassociate and have a rotting brain to escape from the world. So it's kind of got like two meanings.
It's getting worse too. Like I've seen lately, like people that have a different opinion to someone else online, they're actually getting attacked for having a different opinion. You know, it's like opinions are just that. It's your view on something. So someone's got a right to have a different opinion to you. They've got a right to voice it. But these days, everyone just piles on them until into submission, pretty much. And it's becoming such a negative tool instead of a positive thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like on the internet, a lot of the time, there's no room for nuance. It's kind of like this black and white thinking. And first of all, it's really hard to convey nuance and emotion via text.
Yeah.
And then secondly, because of this kind of black and white thinking, there's not that open-mindedness of just like, okay, well, I don't
Back
agree
and
with that
forth,
opinion,
yeah.
but it shouldn't affect you personally to have a different opinion to someone to the degree where it makes you lash out.
Mm.
Um, so I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of like antisocial behavior. I mean, there's a lot of like very, very genuine and open-minded people on the internet. Of course, there's a balance, but yeah, it's hard out there. It's rough out there.
It is indeed. Now, you mentioned that it's been 12 months since Requiem came out, and this is the first single in that time. That was really well received, that EP. Like, it started building a really big tidal wave for you guys, but then you wait 12 months for the next thing. Like, was there a strategic reason behind not striking while the iron was hot, I guess?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I guess when you're thinking about like release cycles, we toured with Future Static pretty soon after the back of that record. And then we went on another tour in April with Behind Crimson Eyes. And then because we're self-funded, a lot of it just comes down to like finances and logistics. So by the time we actually wanted to release this single a lot earlier, so we had it planned for release, I believe, sort of like towards the end of July or like early August or something like that. But we thought we weren't going to do it justice if we rushed it. We sort of had the song ready, but in terms of like being a musician is not just about writing music. It's as I know that it's like you got to prepare all the content and you got to have like the marketing for it and create the single artwork. So I think we delayed it a little bit because just like literally due to logistical reasons. But now we're sort of looking into 2026, and what I can say is you will not have to wait this long again for new music. We're going to have a lot of new music coming next year.
Good to hear. And the press release also says that after listening to the song, I agree with them, but it calls it a bold return to your new metalcore roots. Like, why go back down that path?
Hmm. I
Sorry
think
to make
like
you think.
what you making me think on a Thursday here. Um, I don't know. We always just a band that experiments so much with genres. Like we've written songs with like trap beats in there, like written songs where I kind of like rap, and this one's like definitely got a bit of a new metal flair in like the guitars and definitely like the delivery of the vocals. And I think like one thing that it reminds me of, even though they're two different songs, are when we sort of had our sort of big relaunch in 2021, we released our single Hindsight. which was very, very like new metalcore, and people really resonated with that. So this kind of feels like a bit of a homecoming and like homage to that original sound that we had, but it's just refined a lot more. But I don't know, we just sometimes just want to write like music that's like heavy and that we want to mosh to ourselves.
Yeah, I actually, when I was listening to it, I likened the song to a schizophrenic tornado. That's just the sort of thing that popped in my head when I was listening to it. It was great.
I love it. We're gonna replace that in the presser now.
Is this a standalone single for the band, or is it part of a bigger picture?
I don't know yet. At the
Yes,
moment, it's
you
a standalone
do. Don't lie to me.
single. I don't know. I mean, I like the thought of working towards an album. We definitely haven't discussed that as a band necessarily. Um, I like the idea of putting it on an EP, and I don't mind the idea of it being a standalone single. So I think it's going to be one of those things where as we kind of release more music into next year, we'll have a better picture of what do we want this to be? Like, do we want this to be part of a larger body of work and what that's going to look like? Or is it just a vibe to have it sort of out there as a single and then work on something bigger later? I don't know.
I don't like that answer. I don't like that
How
answer.
vague is that?
What I am going to ask is then, is it representative of the future direction the band's going to be going in back down that path, or is you still experimenting a little bit?
We're always going to experiment. We're never going to be a band that sticks with a certain sound and then just cut, copy, paste. I don't know, we have too many ideas and we always kind of want to be pushing ourselves as artists. But what I will say is I feel like this song and the next batch of songs, they're the best songwriting that we've ever done in terms of arrangements and everything like that. So I feel like even though we're always going to be evolving, I feel like we have landed with this song in particular at a sound that feels really, really authentic to us, and that's kind of cool.
That was a very much more authentic answer. Thank you.
Yeah,
Now, you're going to be celebrating with a gig at Max Watts, I believe, on November the 15th as well. So tell us about that.
so it's supporting Trenton Woodley's new project, Ladders on Tables. So for those who don't know, Trenton was
I
the
just got that.
really tell me because I don't get it. I need to ask him.
Hands like houses on ladders on tables.
Oh yeah, I guess I can kind of see that. Well, yeah, he was a Hands Like Houses front person for a very long time, and it's this is a really cool show to kind of debut this song because actually one of the last times that we played Max Watts was actually supporting Hands Like Houses when Trenton was still in the band. So it's a bit of a full circle moment, and it's really cool that he remembered us and invited us to be the support on this show. He's doing sort of some reimagined versions of Hands Like Houses tracks, and I think some original stuff to this project. I'm not really sure. We'll have to see. But we're also playing with our good friends Days Like These, who are just so sick live, and I just think the vibes are going to be there, and so the audience is going to feel that, because we're excited. So I feel like the audience is going to be excited as well.
Hell yeah. And have you got any other shows coming up to round off the year, or is that it for now?
Nothing confirmed. I hope that we, might be able to jump on a few more shows. But I think next year we're definitely going to be pounding the pavement a lot more and trying to get to some cities that we've never been to before as well. Like one of our goals is to, have the opportunity to play places like Perth, to play Adelaide a bit more. I mean, we've done Sydney and Brisbane so many times over the years, and of course Melbourne, our home city. But it would be nice to kind of go to some new places and keep being in touch with the fans there.
Very nice. Now, thanks very much for your time. A pleasure as always. The single Brain Rot is out tomorrow, Halloween, October 31st. Great way to celebrate.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you celebrating with us.